in a world in which 20,000 human beings die of cancer every day, it would be cruelty not to engage animal testing. It was a phrase of Michael Richard, and well, in the past we have lost the half of the population with different diseases that today are cured because of animal experimentation. A lot of treatments, diseases, and more things about medicine have been discovered because of animal experimentation. Things like smallpox, chickenpox, heart transplants, diabetes, and insulin have been discovered because of different treatments that have been experimented on animals. Imagine if you have a sister, a dad, a brother who has a disease in the heart and do not know we will not know how to fix that because we will not have it because of animal experimentation. Also, cancer and AIDS are diseases which are not cured but are treatable because of animal experimentation. And we know that most of the people is saying that animal experimentation is bad because animals are getting injured in the process, but that's not true. Most of the animals that are treated or are used for animal experimentation are really secure because of laws for animals, and animal activists make us think that they are getting injured, so we don't practice in them. Most of the scientists that experiment with animals are getting really secure to protect animals, and actually, most of the diseases that hurt us hurt animals too, and the scientific makes the cure for the animals first, and then for us. So it's like protecting them and then protecting us. Actually, human experimentation used to exist and used to be practiced, but because of morals and laws, we have to stop it, and we have to try to do it in animals again. And alternatives to animal experimentation are not reliable because a test tube is not going to have a circulatory system or blood or brain who can tell us that that cure is working in us or is going to work in us. So animal experimentation is basic and is need to us to live how we live today. Thank you.
A ver, people, the proposition is behind. Could you please read it so that they're able to see it? Proposition. It's animal experimentation is basic for human purpose. Okay, and this side, Andrea, Denise, and Ana Jasso are the affirmative, and Ethan and Fatima are the negative. Okay, ready?
Wait. Yeah.
I'm going to start with a quote also that it says, "It is wrong to treat animals as subjects for the purpose of scientific research and to cause them pain and suffering. It is not possible to use animal outcomes to predict results in animals." This was said by the American Anti-Vivisection Society. Now, this says that the animals cannot have the same results in humans because it is like logic that they have different systems than ours. Now, human life is considered more worthy than the one of the animals, and that's why they just justify treating them like trash and all that stuff to solve human problems and diseases. But the cancer still has not a cure. So animal life are being done by lucky. That's a luck. So they are like killing them, and when they are done experimenting with them, they just take them to trash. Now, imagine that you are a prisoner or in a hospital, that's how animals live. They live with suffering, and they are afraid every day that when someone comes, they take them to a worse place, where they are killing them or just make them suffering, and they are still alive, so they feel it. There was a recent statistics that almost every people says that mice are the most effective animals to experiment with. And well, here is an image. It was in 1997. This was from Dr. Jack McEntee and his team. As you can see, they drew an ear on the back of a mouse. So they are not just experimenting with them, they are like playing with animals. And it was taken in 1997. And with the technology and all the advances, more things can be done to animals now. Now, the level of suffering in animals and the amount of animals that are used are so high that there's no explanation of humans to use them and treat them like trash.
Okay. So you don't have to clap out of after everyone. Ya. Jorge, por favor, no te voy a tener que sacar, de verdad.
Childhood leukemia. Acute lymphoblastic leukemia is most common of childhood cancers. St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital opened and the surviving rate was 4%. The revolutionized leukemia therapy, and today they revolutionized the leukemia therapy. All of this with animal-based experiments, and the surviving rate today is 80%. It has been suggested that several alternative technologies, including MRI scanning, will eventually replace the use of animals. According to Dr. Phil Stevens, who has pioneered an in vitro test for ulcer treatments based on genetics manipulations, says that this in vitro system is not going to replace animal models, but it will reduce the number of animals used. Researchers have considered any replacement methods, and they provided a written narrative description to determine that there are no alternative, and they were not available. Animal research continues once again because it is proof that there are no alternatives to animal research. Despite claims by animal rights activists, it is undeniable that animal-based research has contributed to significant improvements to the length and quality of our lives. According to Elizabeth Glaser, a pediatric, 2.1 million children have AIDS, are born with AIDS, and there are 1,350 AIDS deaths in children every day. Scientists are continuing their work with animals to gain better understanding of mother-to-infant HIV transmission. In nutrition, there is also doctors know, all that doctors know about the role of food in our lives
they know it because of the animal-based research.
As Andrea says, there are many ways to prove cures for cancer and that diseases, but also there are other alternatives that can be useful and favorable for animals, like the 3Rs example. These are the principles: reduce, reduction, refinement, and replacement. These can reduce the impact of animal research. Like reduction, the first one is by improving techniques and to share information with another scientist to show if there are other alternatives to reduce animal suffering. The refinement is to try to reduce the animal suffering and treat them like they deserve. Also, to improve the medical service care and the living conditions at the time that they are experimenting with them. Like to be more careful and not to cause them problems in their body. The last one, replacement, that is the experiments on animals. That there can be more alternative at the time when they are experimenting with them, such as the cell cultures that do not hurt the cells. Also, instead of that, the whole animal can be like hurt by the computer models. Another alternative that they can use in between the animal experimentation is that animals can be another example. Also, the human volunteers. Humans can volunteer to experiment instead of animals, because not always the experimentation that they get from the animal and the cure, there is not always affecting the same way that it will affect on the human. So animals can volunteer, so animals won't suffer. And this could be a solution for animal experimentation. Thank you.
Okay.